looks like ads are starting in a few minutes. Bit of time to at least start a new run.
Etheria.
He's pouting? Was I? I do have a toggle I haven't used yet. Did I accidentally toggle it on or something? Hang on. Apparently I did accidentally turn it on. Not sure how I managed that. Or is that intentional? But it works. Yeah, I guess it is funny timing. Oh, I know why I turned it on. Because I have it set to me pressing both the 3 and 0 at once on my number pad. So when I was creating the mana token, and I typed 300,000, I accidentally turned it on that way. But yeah, right after losing the round is, I guess, as good a timing as any. They might need to rethink my keybinds on that. Because all of my toggles are set to holding down 0 and some other number pad key. Okay. My goblin was not getting hit. Come on, get in range of the blossoms. You have about $10 stored credits in the Google survey things, and it expires sometime in January. Is there a paid zone game I know that you should investigate? I don't know. Nothing's immediately coming to mind. Oh, ads are starting here. I guess we'll start my break and be back in a couple minutes. Alright, I'm back. I honestly think it's kind of a pain, but there's no setting for me to let audio from the game play while it's out of focus. Welcome back, thank you. If I'll attempt to type something in chat or something, then it cuts the audio for stream. Alright, should probably start from this side. Hopefully I got some good items here. And not get hit by enemies. I probably do need to actually do something here. I don't think I can trust my blossoms to handle these on their own. Especially when this archer is shooting from outside the range. There we are. Increase my tower damage. Start setting up slime launchers, or sludge launchers. Sludge is a form of slime, I guess. That's not the right tower. I don't have to worry about orcs yet. I can just put a second slime or a sludge launcher on each side. You feel like slime is cleaner? And slime is less about the substance and more about the consistency, I think. The saying slime is inherently clean, I don't think is accurate. I once again almost got hit there. Good, and set up my last blossoms. I think my defenses can handle themselves at this point. Casting rate is definitely not where I want it to be right now. But the important thing is I get it up before the last wave of foundries and forges. So I can better deal with the ogre. My mistake last time was focusing on the, or rather getting distracted by the ogre hitting my defenses on the side with the sludge ball. I should probably at least upgrade one of these instead of just focusing on the center. I was actually being threatened. Sludge feels like sometimes toxic leftovers are byproduct, while slime is more of an intended substance. I've never really thought of it that way. Like when you say something is slimy, that doesn't mean it's intended to be that way. I guess I just keep upgrading my Angry Blossoms. But is slimy that doesn't mean to be? I'm having trouble thinking of a specific example. One thing about me is that it's very detrimental to job interviews is I'm very bad at coming up with examples. And that's not something you really think about much, I don't think. But job interviews are largely testing your ability to come up with examples. I don't like job interviews. I think most people don't. Get my tour health up. Another way to think about it is for a job interview, they're not just interviewing you, you're also interviewing them. That has pretty good range damage. This has low range damage and low upgrade levels. Even with the bonus projectiles, it's probably not great. Which is sad. That's not at a level that's gonna be usable. This is probably my best ranged option, at least for now. That's pretty good. Alright. So I don't need this anymore. Okay, it's weird that Seribot bans someone, but their message isn't automatically deleted, it just says restricted. I guess it doesn't need to be deleted if it was never but true to begin with. Interviewing the employer is a very rare case for most people. It's only if the interviewee is highly desirable. I mean, I think learning more about the position and whether it's a good fit for you is important. I've had absolutely miserable jobs. Not all jobs are created equal. Alright. Back to foundries and forges. Not really any point in building this right now. That's in my way. Like what? You want to hear about the more generic jobs I've done? I think the worst job I've ever had was working at a preschool. I have worked retail. There's one time I was in training for a job but never actually started it because it seemed potentially scammy. I don't think I've ever really had a good job. I basically found one that was decent and kept it. What did I do? You're gonna have to be more specific. Oh, welcome, Juicy. How have you been? I noticed you seem to go offline for a bit. At least as far as I could tell. What did I have to do while working in a preschool that made it so miserable? And as a teacher's assistant, and managing kids with grumpy managers is kind of awful. Especially since yawning about how places like that worked. I very much disagree with how they do things, and it's not really specific to where I worked. I mean, some of it likely was, but it's also how the industry is as a thing, and how they maintain certification and whatnot. You've been alright on hiatus for not badly in June, but you're better now. I see. I'm glad you're doing better. Having mental health issues is not fun. I absolutely understand being there. I know you came in at a time where conversation isn't exactly fun. I don't think anyone really likes talking about work. It was always my passion to be a teacher. It really wasn't. At the time, I was desperate for a job and accepting whatever I could get. And I think they were desperate for employees and taking whoever they could get. And it was a very bad sit all around. Yeah, let's put some points in casting right here. It's definitely been good to take a break. Remembering there's life outside of content. True. And obviously lots of things to do with your time. And sometimes it's important to just do other things differently from your normal routine. They let you be a TA at a preschool, zero education. Yeah, preschools don't really have much in the way of requirements for being a TA. Even at an elementary school, all you really need is a high school diploma for that. But again, that's just being a TA. That's not being a primary teacher. It's very baffling to you. Seems like that would be reserved for young teachers toying the job. I do think teachers in training do tend to work as TAs at first. But they also, I think, tend to do more than is needed for a TA. Just so that they can ease into the field more easily. And at the preschool, I have never seen people that happy to leave a job. So it's really no wonder why they were so desperate to hire people. How long did I last there? Like 2 months. They're desperate to hire people for cheap. True. I think places like that also don't really get the funding they need to actually do things properly. Which is probably why everyone's so grumpy there. But also as an industry, their priorities are totally backwards. It's all about looking good to parents because that's where the money comes from, regardless of the well-being of the children. Don't bring flame. His powers are dealing with the kobolds effectively enough. I mean, one was able to slip through and it did a ton of damage. It seems like most of them are getting taken out at least. Alright. I'm just to our range and attack speed a little bit. You should probably upgrade the blossoms over here. And actually pick up the mana. But yeah, when it comes to protecting children from other children, and kids of that age can be very destructive. There really isn't much of anything employees are even allowed to do. Surprisingly destructive. I mean, it probably wouldn't be surprising to a lot of people, but another reason that I personally wasn't really suited to a job like that is I have difficulty being authoritative, which is kind of important in a position like that. I'm also just not really good at talking with people in general, but that, of course, includes children. Okay, which direction is this going? Middle, okay. No, not middle. Yes, middle. Keeps faking me out. Okay, sold my mana. Okay, ogre's done. And the rest of the levels should be easy. I guess even higher ups had a live mentality when it came to that. More like... Well, I'm not really sure why this is the case, but kids who were known to be a danger to others were still allowed around the other kids without really any measures put in place to prevent anything from happening. In theory, being authoritative could be learned. Maybe. It kind of goes against how I think of people in general. I'm not sure whether this is better or worse. I'll hang on to both for now, I guess. But I generally am against thinking of anyone as being above or below anyone else. So it feels wrong to me to try to I guess impose my will on anyone else, even though I'm aware I'm in a position of authority over another person. This is probably better. Alright. Back to Manga's quarters, I guess. But yeah, even when it comes to children, I know that when I was a kid, I hated being spoken to like a kid. I think that carries over into how I speak with them as an adult. Not that I think it's been quite a while since I've even spoken with a child. I had a friend who had a child, but I haven't really spoken to them in quite a while. I haven't seen my relatives in years. Used to be authoritative at work, often not to rank, but is so delegated the responsibility, and it just feels weird. Yeah, I get that. I'm beating the future authoritarian allegations. I didn't realize I was under suspicion of that. All the future allegations? They seem like someone who would receive allegations like that. I guess that's not really relevant because there are people who will accuse others of things with absolutely zero basis. For really stupid reasons. I was actually called a statist once because I said that you shouldn't drink and drive. I think I've mentioned that before. I don't think you have to be a statist to think you shouldn't drink and drive. I think you just need common sense. And you'll be the first one to make them. As you, that kind of viewer. If that's a status, then you're a status too. Exactly. Common sense advice. I think any reasonable person would think that. But of course, there are definitely unreasonable people. Sorry if that's a shock to anyone. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with my build last time. It's just what I did during the wave that I need to make sure I don't make the same mistake. You're shocked. I'm sorry. You just hit the floor when I admitted negative connotation that I was against drinking and driving. I know, so terrible of me. And basically just asking for everyone's rights to be taken away. But I do think that someone's right to not be hit by a drunk driver is more important than someone's right to drive drunk. Is that the booze pool? Is that a thing? You hope booze pool isn't a thing? You know, I wouldn't be surprised if someone has tried it. It's not get blown up. Was it already upgraded? Drunk driving is not right anyway, it's really a crime. Well, yeah. But there are people who will say that laws against drunk driving is having their rights taken away. Getting my Angry Blossoms upgraded. So they probably tried it this year and the year before that. I was looking at chat, did not mean to upgrade that. Or open that, I mean. Yeah, again, that would not surprise me. I think hot beer spas are a thing in Europe. Interesting. I should upgrade these first. But thank you QC for the bits. I think it's... weird how there are people who will criticize you for not drinking alcohol, but one thing I don't think is really talked about enough is that pressuring people into drinking, or at least trying to, is a bit predatory, I think. Like, no matter how you look at it, it's creepy that someone would care so much about you not mentally impairing yourself. Silly jumbo emo goober. Yeah, it's... I think with gigantic emotes, I don't always process immediately that that's something someone needed to spend bits on to do. Yeah, I don't drink alcohol either. Alright. I might actually want to put more points in hero health. Probably not significant, but just a little more of the cushion to potentially avoid getting one shot by the ogre. Seems like a good idea. I think it's mostly people viewing it as a bonding experience. That seemed like a weird way to bond with people, if you ask me, but that's just me, I guess. It just seems like there are way more meaningful and engaging ways to actually connect with someone. Yeah. Just going to focus on the front this time. If the ogre launches a slime ball that trumps my entire defenses on one side down the half, I'm not going to worry about it. The age-old adage of seize the round. Yeah. I'm not going to stop people from doing that if that's what they want. No, honest. I did almost lose my best friends due to their alcoholism, so let's not jump in lava. Needless to say, I am wary of it. honestly, it probably should go ahead and attack it, even if it's not going to do much. Crazy with Den. Oh, it's actually in range of this one now, at least. I was in range of it? Really? I lose to this ogre again. That is tragic. It did not look like he was in range. Yeah, it really didn't. But apparently it was. The ogre wasn't even facing you. It was pretty much at a 90-degree angle to it. It used its wide swing, and I was on the side of its swinging arm, so... So that I got clipped by it. I was trying to get behind it so that I could bait it into the other wisp den. Once it took out that one.
Kids these days wear the strangest clothing.
But, oh well.